Mulano, Molan, Mulano, Molan him say saya, 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 Mulano, Molan, Mulano, Molan him say saya.
Australian Doctors for Africa came out of the tsunami, which was Boxing Day 2004. Prior to that, we'd always gone away on overseas visits to help. We'd been to Africa on many an occasion and to Ethiopia. And it was the tsunami which affected Somalia that was the catalyst for developing an organisation. At the moment, Australian Doctors for Africa has 3 projects in Africa where we're actively involved. In Ethiopia, we work at the Black Lion Hospital in the capital, Addis. In Somalia, we work in Bosaso and Hargeisa, which are 2 of the northern cities in Somalia. And we tend to go back to the same hospital on a repetitive basis, 3 or 4 visits per year to try and improve the local conditions. And our 3rd location is in Madagascar, where we go to a city in the southwest called Tuliar and do the same sort of thing in the government hospital to try and improve things.
I've been working with Australian Doctors for Africa now for 2.5 years, and I mainly got involved because my son Graham is an orthopaedic surgeon, and I just wanted to help him. He was doing a terrific amount of work, and I wanted to relieve him of some of the pressure. And because I'm retired, I thought this was a good way of spending some time. The Australian Doctors for Africa was formed by Graham originally going to Somalia after tsunami. When he went to Bosaso, they're just so destitute there and in need of things. They've got a maternity section with a very high mortality rate of new mums and new babies. And Graham felt that he needed, as a surgeon and a strong sense of community help, that he would start going there. So that's how it started, and so our constitution is that we go to these 3 countries where we're asked to go, and they consult, the doctors I'm talking about consult, then they operate if necessary, and then they do training while they're there.
I've been a businessman and did a commerce degree at the UWA, and I had a successful business, and I had the opportunity to do what I wanted to do, and it dawned upon me when I was 26 that I always wanted to be a doctor. So I went back and started studying medicine then. Well, one of the reasons for going into medicine was to help other people and make more of a contribution. And throughout undergraduate medical studies, I always went overseas, part of my electives, part of my voluntary service in Malaysia and in Kuching in Borneo and in Fiji. And then I continued when I was a doctor and then when I was an orthopaedic registrar. Our volunteers are wonderful people. They give their time and their expertise from the generosity of their hearts. We've had some great times away together and a few scary times, but in general humour and good fun have been the characteristic of most of our visits overseas. Somalia is probably our first love. It was our first project there. The people in Somalia are desperate for any sort of help. And in 2005 when we went, we were the first white people, the first doctors to go to Somalia for 11 years. And so it was quite a privilege and great fun to be there. And lots of our volunteers have culture shock twice. First of all, when they go for the first time to an underdeveloped country such as Madagascar or Somalia, they're very shocked by the lack of infrastructure and the lack of facilities for the people and the poverty that they see. And that takes quite a few days to get used to. A worse culture shock happens when they come home though and see how much we have in Western Australia and how rich we are and how our patients often complain about things which appear in the Somalian context to be utterly and completely trivial. So it's a very strange thing that for the first week or 2 when you're overseas you feel culture shock, and for the first month or 2 when you're back you feel culture shock as well. Well, there's two levels of bad when we're away. One is the medical problems that we see, and some of those are quite horrendous in terms of people who have been injured in motor vehicle accidents or shot or involved in other sorts of trauma. The bad injuries are typical of orthopaedic trauma. They often have a delayed presentation in these countries. If they've happened at a remote location, it can be 2 or 3 days before people arrive with a broken leg. They may come in the back of a ute on a mattress, and they're carried in on a sheet by their family. And these people have been suffering for 2 or 3 days in a way that in Western Australia might only have a problem for 2 or 3 hours or 2 or 3 minutes.
In Toliara, there's a high incidence of talipes, which is club feet. In Perth, very few people would know what club feet or talipes is. It's a deformity of a baby's feet when they're born, which we can do. In Princess Margaret Hospital, there's a talipes plaster room there. The babies have plaster, slightly manipulation of their feet, plaster for 3 days, taken off, manipulate the foot. An orthopaedic surgeon does that. Plaster again, and usually after 6 weeks the baby's feet will just grow normally, might need little special booties, but over in Toliara they don't know of this, they don't even know how to identify it, and a lot of the mothers have their babies in their huts or out under trees or something. So the Princess Margaret Hospital lent us the nurse in charge of the department. She went with our team in November last year. And so we've set up a little talipes clinic there, sent plaster and plaster sores and bandages. She's been and done some training, and that nurse, Scott, and she's going back again in October to do more work, more training. So as a result of me sitting here, I get the warm feeling that I might have had a hand in saving a kid being a cripple. I've actually got a photo of it. About an 11-year-old boy with his feet pointing backwards. His feet are completely reversed from what they should be. Had he been looked at early, he wouldn't be like that, he'd be just normal. So that gives you a really warm feeling, and then also gives you the confidence to go out and talk to people and suggest that they give you money. Sometimes I see where the Ethiopians have bombed the Somalians, and I think, oh, I'm not going to work today if they're doing that sort of thing. But then I look at a photo, we call him Bent Boy.
Who was about an 11-year-old who was caught in crossfire between warring clans. He'd sustained a bullet wound to his tibia, which healed at a complete right angle. This boy looked as though he had an extra knee in the middle of his leg.
And he's been like that for, say, 2 years. And Graham said it was just a simple operation to break his leg and reset it, and the kid can play soccer now.
He always comes back to the hospital when we're there and hangs around. And he's one of our great mates now. We still call him Bent Boy. I hope it's not too rude for him. He's very proud to be called Bent Boy, but now he's Straight Boy. Yeah.
So I come in here and think, well, maybe $200 that I've raised today fixed his leg for him. So that's what motivates me when I see those sort of things.
Oh shingeyo dashinge, oh shingeyo dashinge, ngay mum ngay bena dashinge, ngay mum ngay bena dashinge, ngay mum ngay bena dashinge, kishike mo wiya dashinge, kishike mo wiya dashinge, ngay mum ngay bena dashinge, ngay mum ngay bena dashinge, oh shingeyo dashinge.
In terms of the future for Australian Doctors for Africa, our immediate plans are to make sure we do a very good job of looking after the medical services that we provide in the 3 locations that we attend currently. We're under constant pressure. There's lots of demand for our services in Africa, and people are always asking if we will go to another country and help. And so I suppose in the long term we will be expanding and we will be going to more locations. But step one is to make sure that we get the programs that we're doing up and running on a professional and sustainable basis. And we're nearly there in Madagascar, and probably not there in Somalia yet. So our first priority is to make sure we continue to reinforce and build on our programs. We're trying to make sure our volunteers are happy that when they go away and that they'll want to go away again. And that means we have to pay attention to their needs as well. So at the moment I think we're in a consolidation phase, but probably next year we'll think about expanding again and adding 1 or 2 more locations in Africa. And although we're called Australian Doctors for Africa, we have quite a few non-Australian members. We have Dutch people, Kiwis and United States surgeons who are members of the organisation. So we're not necessarily Australian. We're not all doctors because we have lots of nurses and physiotherapists and others, and we might not even be African only for some time because we've been approached to go on many an occasion to Bangladesh and Cambodia and other places in Asia. So it may well be that we should call ourselves not doctors, not for Africa, yeah.
Not Australian.
Not Australian, yeah.
We just don't realise how lucky we are here. Well, I do. I realise how lucky I am to live in Perth.
Molano, Molan, Molano, Molan him say saya, 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 Molano, Molan, Molan. Bami Molan him say saya Molano Molan Molan Bami Molan him say saya